Scrolling through TikTok, you'll come across a wide array of videos. You'll have people doing challenges, people doing little crazy little dances on TikTok, as well as people even encouraging you to invest in Tesla. Financial TikTok, better known as FinTok, is where individuals share their experiences and advice on things such as investing or cryptocurrency. But just like a lot of the news we see on the internet or even coming from valid huge news sources, a lot of these are misinformation and can be a little bit misguided as well if you don't do your own research. Which is why I encourage you to always do your own research. Don't listen to me, don't listen to them, do your own research. Take the bits and the pieces of information that may or may not apply to your life and then do your research on it and see if it'll work for you. Anyone can pretty much post on TikTok. There's no guarantee that these sources are valid or that they even know what they're talking about, which furthermore leads to you taking information from people who are not even qualified to give you advice. The thing about finances, it's never a one-size-fits-all method. What works for me may not work for you, which is why I always encourage you all to do your own research and take the bits and the pieces of information that might apply to your situation and try to use it in your life and implement some of those things that I talk about and see if it works for you. Everyone's individual financial needs are completely different. Today I selected about 5 popular TikTokers, FinTokers, TikTokers, whatever you want to call them. And I went about doing some research to kind of fact check and see if some of the things they were talking about were valid or if they were just spreading misinformation and lies. Today we're going to unravel financial TikTok and some of the advice that they're giving out. And we're going to debate if some of these things are true, if they aren't true, and what some of these people could possibly do different. Cue the intro. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Campbell and we're back with another video. Now first and foremost, if this is your first time on my channel, I just want to ask you to do me a quick little favor. Please hit that subscribe button as well as him turning on that notification bell, that way you're notified anytime that I drop some content. And while you're at it, please leave a like down below. It helps the algorithm, helps my channel continue to grow, and it pushes my content out in front of more and more people. And I'm going to take it a step further. I'm asking some of y'all to just drop some comments, especially if you're new to my channel and you haven't been commenting. I see we're gaining subscribers by the day and I appreciate y'all. I'm so grateful for y'all to even click on my channel and hit subscribe. But I need y'all to comment as well. That also helps the algorithm because YouTube sees it as this. The more likes, the more comments, the more people are engaging with your videos, the more likely they are to recommend it to other people who may need this information or find it entertaining. And if this isn't your first time on my channel, I just want to say welcome back to the trenches. It's your boy Mitch reporting live and I got some great content for y'all today. First things first, we're going to start off with Personal Finance Starter Pack at age 18. In this TikTok by Humphrey Yang, a former financial advisor with a popular personal finance TikTok and YouTube channel, Yang provides 3 personal finance suggestions for teenagers who just turned 18. Open a checking account, build your credit score, and open an IRA. Is this good advice? In my opinion, yes, it actually is good advice. So we're giving him the thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? You did your thing, dog. We salute you. Humphrey Yang, you give out good information. First things first, we actually did a video about this as well. It's never too early to start thinking about retirement and start putting money to the side for retirement. So since most 18-year-olds don't have a full-time job or access to 401k, an IRA is a great way, not a good way, but a great way to get started. Especially for teenagers so that they can put their money away and it's already been taxed and you can put it towards retirement. So with this IRA, you won't have to pay taxes. You can just begin withdrawing it in your non-working year. And by starting young, you can kind of take full advantage of that compound interest. Opening a checking account is also great information for teenagers who's never had their own bank account. That way you don't have to kind of be up under your parents and be tied to it. It makes managing your own money a little bit easier and it also forces you to be responsible. At this age, when selecting a checking account, I think you're best suited looking for one that has no monthly maintenance fee, that charges no interest, and there's no minimum balance required. Hopefully the initial deposit in order to open the account is low. If you have more than a couple of months living expenses saved up in a checking account, you could also opt to save excess in a high yielding CD account. I'm not gonna get too much into that because I don't really want to confuse y'all, especially if you're 18 and this video isn't really about that. Yang also suggests that people around this age should start looking to build the credit, and y'all know I definitely co-sign this. We've had multiple videos talking about credit and its importance, and because this isn't something we're regularly taught within our public school system, it's always better to worry about this stuff and handle it at a younger age, so that way when the time comes to actually need it, you're more than prepared and you're in a good position. A secure credit card kind of forces you to put down an initial down payment as a deposit, but whatever deposit you put down is also going to be your credit limit. So for example, if you put down $200 for your deposit, to open up that credit card, that $200 you won't get back, but that will be your credit limit. So think about it like this: the more money you put down out of your own pocket, the more you have available in that credit limit. The higher your total available balance is, which kind of can balance out your credit utilization from month to month. I will put a huge emphasis on some of Yang's advice, especially building credit. I think opening a bank account is a must. You're having your own checking account so that you're not up under your parents or tied to anybody. And credit is, I think, my two major takeaways from his points, and I think those are two extremely important feats that we can take from him. Secondly, how to make $10,000 a month at the age of 18. This TikTok by Thach Nguyen, realtor and TikToker with 1 million followers. Nguyen gives advice on how teenagers can make more than $100,000 by wholesaling rental property. He breaks it down into 4 easy steps. Find a house that is run down, track down the owner of the property, make an offer on the property, and put it under contract. Then find an investor to sell the contract to for $10,000. Is this good advice? Theoretically, I guess yes, but to put so much on a plate for somebody at 18 years old, I'm gonna have to give this one a thumbs down, homie, you feel me? I don't think it's bad advice, but I think the crowd and the demographic you're kind of preaching and teaching it to is, I don't think they do. Real estate in itself is not an easy place to get into. It is very lucrative, and I think you become extremely rich and financially free doing this, but it's wholesaling property is not something that just anybody can get into, especially an 18-year-old. Even if you are able to find a rundown property, contact the owner, actually make a lowball offer and put it under contract, you still have to go through like a rental agency of property to actually get the property rented. You got to pay for the renovations, the build up, it's so much that goes into it. It sounds so much easier than it actually is. And even at the age of 18, how in the world do you got enough money to be buying down broke, beat up, raggedy property and be reselling it? I don't know what type of 18-year-olds this dude preaching to, but bro, where I'm from, 18-year-olds ain't even got a car, they ain't even got a license, they ain't even got a car, you feel me? Let alone they out here buying property and stuff in the hood, like nah. Real estate is extremely competitive, and I think that's something that people don't talk about enough. Real estate, like I said, is extremely lucrative, and I think it's a great business venture to get into, but it's extremely competitive, meaning it's never gonna be as easy as it sounds. And people make real estate sound so easy. There are people in their 40s and 50s who still haven't been able to figure it out. To put that much pressure and strain on an 18-year-old to be able to make $10,000 a month, yeah, is it possible? Yes, but it's highly unlikely. That's why I gave this one a thumbs down. I don't think it's bad advice. I just don't think it's the greatest advice for an 18-year-old. I think it is way too simplistic, and it appeals to people when you see $10K a month, like, oh wow, that's a lot of money. When you actually think about what actually goes into it and not explaining the ins and outs and the steps required to do it, that's why I don't think it's very helpful at all. The third one is how to retire before you're too old. This TikTok by Primm, a real estate investor with more than 1 million followers on TikTok. Primm rejects conventional paths to retirement, such as investing 10 to 25% of your annual income and waiting until you're in your 60s to collect Social Security. He argues that people interested in retiring in the next 5 years should invest in real estate using other people's money and create a passive income source that will cover their monthly expenses. Is this good advice? If we're taking like hypothetically, in theory, yeah, it's great advice. But in practice, as I just said, investing in real estate is extremely complicated. When Primm talks about the benefits of using other people's money, he's talking about using leverage or borrowing money to invest in real estate. By putting a small percentage of the mortgage down on the property, you'll get a higher rate of return. While Primm makes it sound easy and simple to just go, borrow some money and just go put it down on a house and pretty much make so much more money than you've invested initially, it's not that simple. It's so much more easier said than done. Because if we're talking about it like this, the banks alone, to get a bank to trust and believe in you enough to say, hey, you know what, we're gonna give you a loan so that you can fund and invest in these rental properties, you've gotta have a great credit score and a great history, which is also something that takes time. I myself am not a huge fan of using debt to pay off debt. Real estate will still be a debt because you're still gonna have to make monthly payments on it. But because you're not using your own money as the minimal down payment on that property, you're also using another form of debt in the form of a loan. So you see what I'm saying? You're using off another debt, a loan collected from a bank or an agency to pay off another rental of property. I don't know, using debt to pay off debt, I feel like is a slippery slope, especially if you aren't very responsible. And if your project doesn't become a success, you're left in a deep, deep hole. It comes down to so many different factors in terms of the market you're in, the area in which you're trying to get this property in, and balancing out the highs and the lows and finding something that's actually worth it and something that's low enough so that you don't recoup any losses and that you can win big. And again, real estate is still very tricky, because if your tenant is calling you at 3 a.m. telling you, hey, my pipes are frozen, or I'm having an issue with the apartment or wherever the rental property, whatever it may be, a house, apartment, a condo, whatever, you're gonna have to be the one to get up out of your bed and handle that. Even if it's you making phone calls or trying to contact other people, this is considered an emergency and you have to get on the ASAP. The upkeep of rental properties alone is a huge investment, and that's why I believe that this isn't the greatest advice, because you're still using debt to pay off another debt. It sounds great initially when you're like, hey, you know what, using other people's money to pay off this rental property, but these are still two things you're gonna have to pay off, and neither one of them are coming out of your pocket initially, but I think in the long run this could actually bite you in the butt and hurt you. Fourth, how to beat evil credit cards. In a TikTok with nearly 18 million views, Mark Tilbury, personal finance YouTuber and the self-proclaimed self-millionaire, does a skit depicting an evil credit card issuer and a small credit card user. Tilbury argues that credit card users are encouraged to spend a greater percentage of their credit card limit and to pay back only the bare minimum amount of their credit card every month. Is this good advice? Yes, it actually is good advice on how to be smart when using your credit card. This Tilbury touches on two important factors that I've talked about in my previous credit videos: credit utilization as well as on-time payments. Two very, very important factors in determining what your credit score will be from month to month. And he also talks about how to avoid high late fees as well as paying interest on some of these cards. A huge factor in being a responsible credit card user is keeping your utilization low, which is why I preached in my former video about having more than one credit card, because the higher your credit card limits and your available credit, the more money you're able to spend while keeping a low utilization score. For example, if you got one credit card for within a $100 limit, that means you cannot spend over $30 a month on that credit card. And if you do, you need to pay off that whatever you use before your statement is due, so that way your utilization can stay low, compared to if you got one credit card that only has a $100 limit, but you have another one that has a $900 limit. Now you have $1,000 in available credit, and even if you max out that $100 credit card every month, you can still stay far under your 30% utilization by just making the bare minimum payment on that one and keeping your other one under $200, if that makes sense. Your FICO credit score is determined by a variety of factors, which include credit utilization, on-time payment history, and the average length of your credit history. If you want a good credit score, you should just keep your credit utilization down low. And he talks about this a lot in these TikToks and stuff like that. So I think this is actually great advice, and I do give him the thumbs up. Last but not least, we're gonna talk about holding FTW. In a TikTok with nearly 4 million views, TikToker and YouTuber Ecommjess breaks down the difference between long-term and short-term capital gains tax. According to Ecommjess, the money that you earn when you sell a stock, aka capital gains, after holding it for less than a year is subject to your income tax rate. This is because your capital gains are considered a part of your income in short term. For stocks held more than a year, you're subject to a long-term capital gains tax, which is lower than the income tax rate. Is this true? Yes, it is true. Long-term capital gains tax, in theory, is actually less than short-term gain tax. When it comes to investing, you're better off investing for the long haul, which is why I always tell people, you know, if you're down to your last, you only got a few dollars left in your pocket to your name, I personally don't advise people to invest that little bit of money that they have, because to make any type of gain or to actually see that money double and triple and stack up, you're gonna have to leave it in there for a while. And when I say a while, that could mean years. And if you're down to your last, you don't have years. If you hold on to a stock for longer than a year, you'll be subject to a long-term capital gains tax, which is typically lower than a short-term gain tax. If you're new to investing, you should practice and kind of work on a long-term investing strategy to avoid short-term fluctuation and inflation. It's kind of like what we saw after the pandemic, and we saw a lot of these meme stocks and stuff like that, when people are getting so caught up in short-term investing because they wanted to become the next like millionaire. And let's be real, even the people who were able to pull some of that stuff off were literally 1 in a million, which means the majority of people who made a lot of money off investing have been in it for the long haul. So the bottom line is this: financial TikTok can be either a hit or miss in terms of accuracy, and that solely is dependent upon who you are and what your situation is. That doesn't necessarily mean these people are coming out here lying or telling you a bunch of BS. What you have to understand is a lot of these get-rich-quick schemes and suggestions actually aren't as quick and as easy as you think. That doesn't mean it's bad information, it just simply means it's misinformation. So a lot of people are misinformed. A lot of people have the right ideas in terms of becoming financially free or even getting rich, but the steps steps included into doing some of these things, that's when the vision gets a little blurry. You have to seek out topics and things that apply best to you in your situation, and then you have to do your own research and then figure it out from there what applies to you, what doesn't apply to you, and what steps you need to personally take. I say this a lot on my videos. Don't trust me. Don't just listen to everything I say. Don't listen to the next guy, the next woman, the next circle, the next square, the next dog, the next cat, whatever. Don't just listen to what everybody else is saying. Do your own research. What works for one person may not necessarily work for the next. It doesn't mean it's a lie or it's bad information. It simply means that it just doesn't apply to you. Again, this is all solely based off of my opinion. This video wasn't meant to on anybody or the information. All these people are very successful in their own rights, and they have found their own lane and they found out what works for them. This simply me just sharing my opinion and giving it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I salute everybody I mentioned in this video, and I hope to get to where they are one day in terms of being a content creator and being able to share advice. So if you found this video entertaining, informative, educational, or you liked it in any way, shape, or form, do me a favor. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button as well as turn on that notification bell so you know notified anytime that I drop some content. While you're at it, please hit the like down below. It helps the algorithm, helps my channel continue to grow, and it pushes my content out in front of more and more people. I just want to say again, as I always say, man, I'm gonna never stop thanking y'all, because I really do. I'm gonna continue to thank y'all for the love and support, and to the new subscribers, continue to welcome y'all, man. If you don't want to comment nothing, just drop a gorilla emoji. Let me know you're here so I can acknowledge you and so I can thank you personally. With that being said, I love those who love me. I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all, and I'm gonna catch y'all bite in this video.